Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praises and honor and glory that's definitely due to Yahweh by Hashem, Yahushua by Hashem, Mekah Kradash, from the prophets in Babylon out of the Waco, Texas camp, affiliated with the branch of prophets in Babylon, Tampa Bay, Florida. I'm your brother Atiat. I'd like to give a special double honors to the elders and apostles on down at Great Millstone, and peace and salutations to the elect of the nation of Israel. Lesson for today: Eve is not Jake's friend. And Lord willing, I hope and pray that this will be edifying. And so I was inspired to do the video because there's a channel. There's a channel on my TV. I guess it has about specifically about talk shows. And so one of the talk shows is Maury Povich. Now, of course, you know, I'm sure a lot of you brothers are familiar with it. And Maury Povich has been around a long time. I remember him back in the 80s. He used to do a show called Current Affair, where he was doing a lot of various topics. But now, you know, he does TV shows now, or talk shows, where basically it's demeaning Jake and Eve in a negative light, where, you know, the constant topic now is who is the baby, you know, who's the baby's father. And thing about it with this show, you have women that come on there. They'll accuse Jake of being the you know, the father's, you know, being the child's father. And sometimes it goes to a point to where they do the results and come to find out he's not the father. And then there's times where you know, he is the father. But the point I'm trying to make is how in these shows, you know, it's specifically made to exploit Jake, you know. Also just to exploit Eve as well, because it shows you, when you think about it, it shows how much of a harlot Eve is. Because sometimes, like I say, the man that she's accusing of the baby, you know, of being his baby, it you know, a lot of times you know, there are times when he's not the father. So this shows you, you know, the scripture, what it tells you, Amos chapter 7 verse 17, which, you know, at the end of the day, these Edomites, they love to exploit us. But, you know, Jake puts himself in a bad light as well as Eve, because Eve, you know, Eve's a harlot, man. Amos chapter 7 verse 17, this is another reason why, among many, why we need to get out of this place, man. Therefore, thus saith the Lord, Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua, thy wife shall be an harlot in the city, and thy sons and thy daughters shall fall by the sword, and thy land shall be divided by line, and thou shalt die in a polluted land, and Israel shall surely go into captivity forth of this land. And this is true. We're in America. We're in captivity. Now, of course, at one time, we were in hardcore bondage. But the Lord had mercy on us and took us out of it. But we're still in bondage, because think about it. You know, if you don't pay your bills, you know, you won't have a place to lay your head. If you don't pay your car note, you don't have a transportation. You know, the essential things you know, need, like lights, water, gas, what have you. You know, if you don't pay those things, you know, that, you know, they can be cut off. So you're in a different kind of bondage, as well as paying taxes and so on and so on. So and really, when you think about the Social Security number, that's part of your that's part of labeling you as well. Um, as their basically their property, because if they know what you make, and where you work and all that, you know. But getting back to the point, our women will be harlots, and sons and daughters shall fall by the sword, and we see that constantly. You got Pookie and Ray Ray, uh, unaliving each other, you know, um, as well as Laquita and Shaquita, you know, and we're living in a polluted land, and we've been in captivity over here in Egypt for a long time, which is America, another word for America. So and the thing about it, these Edomites, they exploit this behavior that Jake and Eve had, and this is all in the scriptures, because it goes back. Because really, when these women be on these programs, I mean, it's like they have a perpetual hate for Jake, and it's not like it is, because you can see it. But it shows you where in those curses that that was mentioned of in Deuteronomy chapter 28. Deuteronomy chapter 28 verse 56. The point is made here that Eve is not Jake's friend at all, man. You know, and you can see it when you watch shows like Maury Povich and things like that. Who's Your Baby Daddy and all that kind of stuff. You can see the perpetual, overly emotional hate that Eve has for Jake, man. Deuteronomy chapter 28 verse 56. The tender and delicate woman among you, which would not adventure to set the sole of her foot upon the ground for delicateness and tenderness. These women, you see them on that show, there's nothing tender or delicate about them. They're very vicious, very unladylike. A woman is supposed to be tender, delicate, loving, and these women on that show, they're anything but that, man. Like it's like you wouldn't want to be in a dark alley, and you wouldn't want to be in a dark alley with a woman like that, with that kind of a mindset, man. No telling what she'll do to you, because really, like Elder Apostle Tahar said about a lot of these women, if a woman can jump on a man and beat them up and things like that, they got heavy demons on them. And these women, they really have heavy demons on them. You can see it when you watch shows like Maury Povich. It'll show you that these women have a lot of heavy demons on them, bro. So I'll start again. Salakia for the rant. The tender and delicate woman among you, which would not adventure to set the sole of her foot upon the ground for delicateness and tenderness, her eyes shall be evil toward the husband of her bosom. And that's what's going on. You see it on a show like Maury Povich, where these women, they have an evil eye, man, towards the man that the man that they got kids with, and toward her son and toward her daughter. Yeah. And see, another thing, these women will weaponize these kids against their own father. Telling me, he ain't shit and this, that, and the other. And I mean, at the same time, Jake's sometimes these women, because let's face it, these women choose who they sleep with and who they not going to sleep with, right? Because back in the ancient times, it was the parents, the father. It wasn't the parents. It was the father who chose what, where the his daughter was gonna, who she was gonna be with, because it was more like a when the two became together as one, it's like joining corporations together, because that family that she was joining was well off. The parents, uh, um, gave a good upbringing to the son, and they knew that son coming from a good background. You know, see these days these women they'll get with a man, and this man you don't know where he came from. He may have came from a broken home. Maybe he didn't have his parents in his life. You know, it's all kind of different situations. They don't know the background. But see, in the ancient times, that's why the scriptures say, learn the old paths. Because when we were in the old paths, things were better to where, the father would determine who she was going to marry. She had no say so, you know. And so, when you don't do the things the way the Lord set things up, this is why we're in the situations we're in. This is why you have shows like Maury Povich, and you got these Edomites. They laugh because really they're exploiting this kind of behavior and showing you, hey, look, Lord, look at your people. Look how they act. Look how your women, look how the woman that you created, look how she acts. Look at this. Look at Jake. Look how he acts. He don't care. And then, like I say, again, a lot of these women are overly emotional when they come on these programs, and it's just crazy, man. They had one Jake came on there, and the girl he was dealing with, she was homeless. Come to find out, those two kids were his, but she was homeless. But I guess, I don't know, maybe he put her out because at one time he thought that the woman was sleeping with his best friend. Well, come to find out, that wasn't true. They took a lie detector test, wasn't true. But whatever the guy was doing, he shouldn't have been dealing, had no dealings with his, woman, his friend's woman anyway, you know. Sirach chapter 25, verse 19. All wickedness is but little to the wickedness of a woman. Let the portion of a sinner fall upon her. Yeah, so these women, there's no wickedness like these women, man. And like I say, you got women that come on their show, and these women be, accusing them, Jake of this being your child and this and that, and then come to find out it's not his. And then she goes to, bawling and crying and running off the stage, and, so they go backstage trying to comfort her, which, I mean, she was the one that made all that, came on the show falsely accusing, but that's that woman for you, and then she cries for that sympathy, and the whole, and this shows you, these people out here have very little understanding because, why would you feel sympathy, for her? She went out there and decided to go be a harlot, Sirach chapter 25, verse 24. Of the woman came the beginning of sin, and through her we all die. Yeah, because the woman wanted to be on the same level as a man, she sinned, and this is why we're in the situations where we all die. This is why the scriptures tell you when you look down here in verse 25, give the water no passage neither a wicked woman liberty to gad abroad. And that's what's going on in America. This is why, a lot of jakes are going overseas to meet women, because these women over there, they know how to act. These females over here, they don't, because they've been given liberty to gad abroad. And when you have women, you've been given liberty to gad abroad, these women, go to different countries. I was talking to a woman yesterday. She was talking about she's going to Dubai, and some of you brothers that's in the know, you know what goes on in Dubai. A lot of these women do a lot of strange things just to get some money, down there in Dubai. But yeah, when they're given liberty to gad abroad, they sleep with whoever they want to sleep with. They they have no ill concern nor no accountability for whatever they do, and they'll make some kind of frivolous excuse to justify why they're doing whatever wicked deed they're doing. So it's best to be mindful, you brothers out there that's in this truth and knowledge. You're dealing with these women. At the end of the day, you're gonna have brothers that's dealing with these women, in some form or fashion. But if you brothers are single, where you got your own place or whatever, don't let these women move in with you, because it's gonna take your sanity and your peace of mind away. Hey, I've been there, done that, brothers. So I'm telling you, don't do it, man. If you're dealing with a woman, don't let us come stay with you, bro. And if you stand with her, every brother's got a different situation. But if you stand with her, that's even worse. So if you can move out, try to find your own place. I don't care if you gotta stay in a motel or whatever. You know what I'm saying? In order to, because at the end of the day, you need that peace and sanity to deal with the things that go on in this system. This wicked system that we live in, man. But it's a suggestion. But something that you should seriously consider. Every brother's in a different situation, what have you. And then you, like I say, you have brothers that don't deal with the women at all. They say, hey, look, I'm gonna wait till Isaiah 4:1. That's cool too, But you deal with these women, deal with them with caution, man. So Lord willing, I hope and pray that this will be edifying. Once again, I want to give all praises and honor and glory that's definitely due to Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakak Radash. Special double honors to the elders and apostles on down at Great Millstone. Peace and salutations to the elect. Until the next time, Lord willing, I'll say shalom.